What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction. In this one, we have why Hindu temples are richer than mosques and churches. Before we jump into why they're so much richer, if you guys happen to enjoy, please don't forget to subscribe, give the video a thumbs up. Also, if you would like to support this channel by becoming a member, all you gotta do is hit that join button to receive your exclusive benefits. Let's dive right in.
In the 1880s, the exchange rate between the US dollar and Indian currency was 1 USD to 3.3 INR. At that time, a vault in one of India's Hindu temples contained treasures, gold, diamonds, and other valuables, worth over 36 billion. Back then, the price of gold was just $18 per ounce compared to today's price of $2,622. Adjusting for inflation and gold's rising value, that's an average increase of 3.6% annually. This vault, believed to remain unopened since the 1880s, could now be worth over $5.7 trillion. This temple, the Padmanabha...
5.7 trillion... not million. Not billion. $5.7 trillion. Oh my days. That's insane.
Swami Temple in Kerala holds one of the world's greatest hidden treasures. And this isn't the only one. Another vault in the same temple, opened more recently, was found to contain more than $20 billion in gold and jewels. The famous Venkateswara Temple is estimated to hold around $35 billion. Other temples, such as Shirdi Sai Baba and Vaishno Devi, are also believed to hold billions in wealth. Hindu temples in India are estimated to collectively hold over 4,000 tons of gold, not to mention diamonds, silver, and other precious metals. So the question arises, are Hindu temples richer than churches and mosques around the world?
It's not a question.
If these estimates hold...
It's not a question. There's no question. I can't name you a church worth of bill. I don't know about mosques, so y'all had to give me the information on that. But I don't know about it. I don't know a church worth $1 billion. I could be wrong, and you could prove me wrong in this video. I personally don't know a church worth $1 billion. But y'all talking about 4,000 tons of gold in these Hindu temples. Y'all talking about 35 billion. Y'all talking about 5.7 trillion. Come on now. It shouldn't be.
Then they very well could be. However, churches and mosques are also immensely wealthy. For example, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is estimated to be worth $265 billion, as is the Catholic Church in Germany.
Oh, I'm thinking of the U.S. then. I'm thinking of U.S. churches, I guess. Yeah, 265 billion? Yeah, dang.
St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City is valued at over $100 billion. In France and Australia, Catholic churches have wealth exceeding $23 billion. In terms of mosques, Masjid al-Haram in Mecca, the most expensive building in the world, reportedly cost $120 billion to build, and it likely has assets worth hundreds of billions more. Al-Masjid an-Nabawi in Medina has over $50 billion in property, while other mosques like the Sheikh Zayed Grand Mosque in Abu Dhabi and the Sultan Ahmed Mosque in Turkey are valued in the billions. At first glance, it may seem that churches and mosques surpass Hindu temples in wealth. But this perception could be skewed by several factors. While religious institutions often shy away from revealing their financial holdings, claiming to serve spiritual rather than monetary purposes, churches and mosques are generally more transparent about their assets due to religious obligations. Muslims, for example, are required to pay 2.5% of their wealth in zakat to mosques, while Christians traditionally tithe 10% of their income to their churches.
Now tithing, I agree with tithing because you have a choice, right? You can choose to give 10% or you cannot choose to give. I do not like anything where I'm required to pay a percentage of my money to a church or anything. Now I will tithe and I'll give offering. I will do that. But I don't like the feeling of being required to do it. I don't like that.
Temples, on the other hand, have no obligatory donation requirements, despite the emphasis on charitable giving in Hinduism and Buddhism. Yet even without mandated contributions, Hindu temples remain incredibly wealthy, often surpassing many churches and mosques worldwide. If you're interested in a deeper analysis of religious donations across these four major religions, we've already uploaded a dedicated video on our channel. Another factor to consider is that the wealth of churches and mosques is more likely to be valued, registered, and accounted for, whether in the form of real estate, money, valuable metals, or artifacts. In contrast, much of the wealth held by Hindu temples, particularly in India and Nepal, remains undocumented, unregistered, and underreported. Indian households alone are estimated to possess nearly 25,000 tons of gold, mostly in the form of jewelry, which is largely unregistered. This suggests that the
India got all the gold. India got all the gold over there. They got most of the gold. They got most of the gold over there, which is absolutely awesome. But, okay, so the U.S. or not the U.S., stop saying that. Churches and mosques register how much money they're worth, and they put that information forward, while the Hindu temples do not put that information forward of how much these temples are worth. And so I guess you have that difference between the two. So we don't truly know the value of the temples and any kind of treasures that they may hold inside.
Hindu population may be the largest holder of gold worldwide, and Hindu temples may be the richest religious institutions when it comes to gold reserves. The importance of wealth, gold, and dowry in Hindu weddings further contributes to this accumulation. For more on the topic of Hindu marriage and its connection to wealth, check out another video already uploaded on our channel. Another important factor to consider is that churches and mosques around the world receive substantial donations from their respective governments. For example, the Saudi government donates billions of dollars, not only to Mecca and Medina, but also to various mosques and Islamic organizations worldwide. Similarly, many Islamic countries contribute vast sums of money to mosques. In some Islamic nations, banks automatically deduct 2.5% of income as zakat, even though Muslims already give the same percentage in religious donations. A comparable system exists for churches as well. The Vatican, for instance, provides billions of dollars in funding to churches globally, alongside the wealth of its own central church. Some countries, like Germany, even impose a church tax, where 7 to 8% of a Christian's income is earmarked for religious purposes. In contrast,
I heard about that in Germany. Again, don't like that because it's a tax. It's taken out no. Don't like that.
Percent of a Christian's income is earmarked for religious purposes. In contrast, countries with Hindu majorities, like India and Nepal, do not financially support Hindu temples in the same way. Both are secular nations, and government donations to Hindu temples would quickly ignite political controversy. Despite this lack of government aid, Hindu temples remain extraordinarily wealthy. So, why is that? One key reason lies in the origins and age of these religions. Hinduism predates both Christianity and Islam by millennia. Some prominent historians suggest that the sacred Hindu scripture, the Vedas, may have been written over 15,000 years ago. In comparison, Christianity is just 2,000 years old, and Islam only 1,400 years old. Both of these younger religions spread globally through war, missionary work, and colonization. Meanwhile, Hindus have been donating land, gold, diamonds, silver, and other treasures to temples for thousands of years, long before Christianity and Islam even existed. As a result, Hindu temples have accumulated vast amounts of wealth over centuries. In the Padmanabhaswamy temple alone, the treasure discovered in one vault dates back thousands of years. This wealth not only holds material value, but also immense historical and artistic significance, making it potentially worth 10 times its actual value.
So basically, on finances and donations and all this, the Hindus had thousands of years of a head start on these churches and mosques. So it's like they built up so much freaking wealth within these temples that nowadays they're not required to take it out of a tax, or they don't need the tithes, or they don't. I mean, they accept donations, but it's not like they're requiring you to pay any percentage of your money to the temple or asking you to tithe 10%. It's like whatever you have to give, if you would like to donate, is what it sounds like.
The same is true for many other Hindu temples. While Muslims and Christians often glorify their religious sites, many of which are just a few hundred years old, Hindus do not emphasize the historical
Dang.
significance of temples that are over 2,500 years old. Yet, Hindus continue to make significant donations and offerings to temples for reasons deeply tied to cultural and religious practices.
That's
We'll explore
amazing.
these reasons in more detail next.
That's truly, truly amazing.
Despite the absence of obligatory donations in Hinduism, Hindus still give generously to temples. This may be due to their personal wealth or the belief that their offerings will be rewarded many times over, both in this life and the next. Social,
Understandable.
cultural, and religious factors play a major role in encouraging Hindus to donate to temples, priests, and saints. It's a deeply ingrained belief that such acts of generosity will lead to greater prosperity, ensure a place in heaven, and bring divine favor. Hinduism, being one of the oldest religions, features many deities, including the goddess of wealth, Lakshmi. There are other goddesses who are believed to bestow power, fortune, and wealth upon their worshippers when pleased. As a result, offering gold, silver, money, clothes, food, and other items during worship is deeply embedded in Hindu culture. This is quite different from Islam and Christianity, where worship tends to be more focused on prayer alone. One reason for this difference could lie in the origins of these religions. Both Islam and Christianity arose in desert environments where scarcity was a constant concern. For this reason, obligatory religious donations, such as zakat in Islam and tithes in Christianity, were prioritized, allowing for redistribution to the poor and funding for protection and missionary work. Hinduism, on the other hand, originated in regions rich in biodiversity, like India and Nepal. Even during hunter-gatherer times, people had abundant access to fruits, vegetables, fish, animals, and birds. Offering these items to deities as part of worship became a common practice. Whether it's the sun, the wind, rivers, mountains, or gods and goddesses, Hindus offer something as a symbol of devotion, and this
Love that.
practice has continued for tens of thousands of years. You can still witness these offerings in Hindu temples across India, Nepal, Bangladesh, and Pakistan.
So that's
Over
that's absolutely incredible. And it's like, although it's not like obligated for you to pay a certain amount of tax or anything, Hindus are very generous. It sounds like, with the donations that they give, whether it be for personal reasons, whether it be they believe that the blessings or the donations that they give, they will receive blessings many times back. For whatever reason, they're generous with these donations. So that helps support these temples and how wealthy these temples are. And that's truly incredible. When they talk about these things have been going back for thousands of years. So yeah, that's fine.
time, as people became wealthier, their offerings grew larger.
Of
Land,
course.
money, gold, diamonds, silver, and other treasures were given to
Jeez.
temples. Since Hindu temples were not obligated to redistribute this wealth, it accumulated over centuries. In
Dang.
contrast, churches and mosques often redistribute much of their wealth to the needy, support missionary efforts,
Huh.
and fund various other causes, making it harder for them to build up the kind of wealth seen in Hindu temples. But of course, humans are flawed, and even within religions, there are those who exploit wealth in the name of religion.
Yes. Yes.
Corruption, greed, and the desire for power have led political leaders and other influential figures to steal from religious institutions, be they
Unfortunately.
churches, mosques, or temples. This has happened throughout history and will likely continue into the future. Finally, with
Unfortunately.
Christianity having roughly 2.4 billion followers, Islam nearly 2 billion, and Hinduism only 1.2 billion, it might seem natural to assume that churches and mosques would hold more wealth collectively than Hindu
You
temples.
you would
However,
think.
given the vast history of temple donations and wealth accumulation, there remains room for doubt. If you also factor in purchasing power parity, the economic picture shifts even more. If you have thoughts on this topic, don't hesitate to
Dang.
share your opinion.
I feel like I watched a video not too long ago that talked about like how rich Hindu temples are, and this kind of video to put them in comparison was like really cool for me to watch. It's like, dang, hey, these Hindu temples, they have thousands of years of head start. They done acquired this wealth, and like he said, they ain't had to outsource it to like different missions or different charities or different none of that. They just got to let it stack up, build, accumulate, and now you got all these wealth in these temples, and you don't know how much wealth is truly inside of these temples. You don't know how much treasure and gold is truly inside of them, and they're still getting donations. It's yeah. So we don't really even know. just how rich these temples. We know that they're rich, but we don't know how rich these temples are. They could be a lot richer than we could even imagine. But that's all we have. If you guys enjoyed that, please don't forget to subscribe, get a video a thumbs up, and then check out the next one. I'll see you guys next time.